The next the next energy is purpose energy, and that fuels motivation through meaning. Purpose energy is what makes discipline and effort feels worthwhile. When I was living on $10 per week, my purpose was clear. I was building a future to allow me to bring my son to the United States. And my purpose was never to feel powerless again. Remember, I told you about that word powerless? Without that purpose, even the small tasks sometimes feel heavy. With purpose, even challenges will become opportunities as well. But that purpose energy is restored when you reconnect with your why. So you have to go back to where you start. What's my why? The why will give you a deeper reason behind your work, behind the choices you make, and life in general. So ask yourself, does your action connect you to your bigger purpose in life? So whenever you're doing something, that purpose energy, make sure to reconnect with your why. And these are my why. I dropped out of college. I lost custody of my son. I felt powerless. And then I set my intention, I will never be powerless again. So that's my why in my life. Whenever life gets overwhelming, I remind myself of my why. Resetting your life requires new thinking, and we are going to dive into the 3 critical shifts. A new calendar, a lot of people say, oh, new year. A new calendar does not change your life. You know what change your life? New thinking does. And that new thinking begins with the 3 shifts that we're about to dive into. The first shift is moving from survival to strategy. Survival thinking asks, how do I get through today? Mr. Strategy says, what am I building with my life? That's Mr. Strategy right there. When I was in survival mode in New York, I'm still in New York. When I first came to New York, I made decisions based on urgency and fear. I said yes to anything that could pay the bill, even if it drained me, even if I'm tired. And that strategy requires me to step back. When I start putting things in focus, it allows me to step back and ask whether each decision moved me closer to the life I wanted to live. For example, a lot of us think that working on a cruise ship, it's glamorous, but it's not. But it was a strategy. It aligned with my long-term goal of education and that stability that I need for my son and myself. Strategy may require patience, but it requires direction. I'm going to take another poll question. From survival to strategy, and we just did this. What am I building? And the alignment creates progress. And we're going to move on to a poll question right now. The poll question is alignment versus survival.
Okay, so go ahead and launch. Okay, so poll question number 4. Do you feel your daily choices reflect your long-term goals and purpose? A, always, B, sometimes, C, rarely, and D, never. And remember, answer the polling question using the polling feature. All right. We have 81%, 84% of you have responded so far. And we're going to close the poll in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. I'm going to end it now and share the results. And we have 80% of you saying sometimes, and 10% always, 3% rarely, and no one said never.
Thank you. I notice many of you said sometimes or rarely. That is exactly where alignment over survival begins. Alignment means saying no to what drains you and yes to what moves you closer to your vision. The second shift is moving from emotion to intention. Emotional motivation oftentimes feels powerful in the moment. Yes, I can do this. I am going to get this done. But it fades when life gets hard. And if you agree with me, go ahead in the chat. If you agree with me that when it gets hard, that motivation fades. Intention is a commitment you keep when you do not feel like it. Thank you so much. There were, yes, it's hard. Agreed. So everyone agreed that when life gets tough, you tend to want to give up. But there are many days I did not feel motivated to continue school, to heal, to keep believing. Or even the very thought of reuniting with my son. I tend to be stubborn, Kim says. But intention carried me when emotions left me stranded. Intention meant showing up, and I continue to show up in my son's life, whether it was directly or indirectly. I showed up to classes even when I was exhausted. I chose healing even when it was uncomfortable because, those days you have, not days, but if you need healing, you have to be honest with yourself. And being honest with yourself sometimes can be very uncomfortable. So intention builds consistency, and consistency changes our lives. The third shift is moving from fear to focus. Fear shatters your energy by pulling your attention in so many different directions. Like, oh my God, I don't know what to do now. Because of that fear, you're not focused because you allow fear to take over. It keeps you from preparing for everything. It prepares you, it keeps you from preparing for everything that could go wrong. Some people are Debbie Downers, they talk about everything that could go wrong, and they don't focus on what is going to go good. Focus gathers your energy and directs it towards what really matters the most. So it allows you to be focused. Focus does not mean fear disappears. It means fear no longer gets to decide. So focus now is going to allow you to make conscious decisions because you don't allow fear to take over in that moment. When I stop focusing on what really matters, I started I started focusing on what I was building, and that's progress. Focus multiplies energy because it removes distraction. I'm going to take another polling question at this point. When making decisions, which usually guides you? Is it fear? Is it focus? A mix of both? Or is it that you're unsure?
Okay, everybody. So what guides your decision? Mostly fear, mostly focus, a mix of both. You're unsure. Remember to answer now, because if you missed any poll at the beginning, now is your time to make up. I'm actually answering the poll myself because I have to follow the rules. All right, so I've submitted my response. So 58 of 68 persons have responded. I'm going to close the poll in 5 seconds. So 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And in the poll now, showing the results. And 62%, they're saying a mix of both. 34% mostly focus, 3% mostly fear, 0 for unsure.
Mm. Thank you so much.
And I'm just encouraging everybody to share the questions, just in case I didn't see the message. Share your questions in the Q&A tab. Thanks.
Most of us operate between fear and focus. The good news is focus can be trained and chosen intentionally. That's exactly what the tools I'm about to share with you will help you to do. So if you're ready to move on from survival to strategy, from emotion to intention, and from fear to focus, I want you to say in the chat, just put it in the chat. I choose strategy, I choose intention, and I choose focus. So you can go ahead and put it in the chat. Thank you so much. I choose. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Carl. Thank you, Anne. I see you all. Thank you so much. I want you to start today, not tomorrow, to begin your reset with 3 simple, sustainable practices that will help you to align and feel more accountable as you go along. The first one is the daily question. You can begin with a daily reset that takes just a few minutes, just a few minutes. A daily reset can ask you or ask yourself one question each morning. What is the one thing that truly matters today? This practice keeps you aligned instead of reactive. We move on to the weekly alignment check. You can commit to this alignment check by asking yourself honest questions at the end of the week about what drained you during the week, what energized you, and what needs to be changed. You know, sometimes a lot of us tend not to be honest with ourselves because we're afraid of changes, or we don't like to hear the honest truth about what's not working and that we have to make changes. But to hold yourself accountable and to be aligned, you have to be honest, and you have to tell yourself if something is not working, it's time for a change. Also, you can also choose that 90-day focus. Instead of trying to change everything all at once, that 90-day allows you to concentrate your energy on one meaningful area of growth without feeling overwhelmed. Just one area. I mean, there are so many things going on, but choose that one thing and spend time to realign and reset that one thing. And then you move on to the next thing, maybe for the next 90 days, so that you do not feel overwhelmed. As we close, imagine who you could become by the end of 2026 if you implement all these tools. If you constantly or consistently choose alignment over survival, just write one word in the chat. One word that describes that future version of you. Just one word in the chat. Faith. Jillian said better. Phenomenal. Accomplish. Realign. Stronger. Success. I just want to remind you that you are allowed to rest. You are allowed to reset. Any amount of time that you want to reset, you are allowed to do that. It doesn't matter. Don't compare yourself to someone else. Chapter 10. If you're chapter 1, focus on your chapter 1. Don't compare yourself to someone else's chapter 10. Focus and reset. You can rewrite your story. If I can do it, you can do it. Step by step, I did it, and I'm still resetting every day. I'm still rebuilding every day, and I do it decision by decision. I do it reset by reset. So I just want to say, I believe in your reset. I believe that you will have a great 2026 year. And if you choose to make it so, you can make it happen. So I believe in everything. So no matter what, no matter the hard days, no matter the hard days, I just want to say that it will be long, but not forever. And if you need a constant reminder throughout 2026, get a copy of my book as a roadmap, because I did it. You can do it too. And you remind yourself right throughout 2026 that, hey, Fiona did it. And I read her book and she overcame so many things. And I know you can do it too. Thank you so much. You can go ahead if you do have any questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat right now.
Okay, so in the Q&A, so there are three
Yes.
questions, but Debbie will lead that
Yeah.
segment.
Okay.
Yeah, Terry, do you have any more pop-up questions? Should I
And
go ahead?
we did all the
All the
polls, but
questions. Okay, so
remember
I'll
there
go
was a
ahead.
question. Remember that question that you're supposed to ask, you know what I
Oh,
mean?
yes.
Yes.
So, yes, before I proceed with the questions, just to remind our participants to stay on, there are giveaways at the end of the question and answer session, and you can only participate if you are online and you are a part of the webinar.
Yeah, and
So
you remember you're going to ask them about the three takeaways so they can think about it, and then they give the response after you do the Q&A.
Oh, okay. So I should go ahead and ask. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move to our questions for the presenter. The first question, I know we can't have a set time really to reset, but is there a timeline considered too short? Example, overnight or let's say a 3 months period.
The reset starts in the thinking. And once you're thinking about it, there's no timeline for you to restart or reset. You just have to recognize that what needs to change, the shift that needs to change, and approach it immediately. So there's no timeline. You don't put off anything for tomorrow. While you can do it in that moment, do it. You make that commitment to yourself and you do it in that moment.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much, Fiona.
You're
Our
welcome.
second question. I just always feel people should be punished for their evil acts. When I feel that is not happening, it bleeds anger. How do I start letting go? There's a second part that said, somehow I feel healing starts for me when I feel there is justice. I may be wrong, but how do I heal in the absence of visible justice?
Just understanding that there's nothing that you can do. And for peace, for your peace, for your mental energy, emotional energy, you just have to let go because it just don't serve you. All it does is carrying on all that stress, additional stress. And yes, the doctor will be seeing you if you're overstressed. So letting go, you're doing yourself a great favor and also saving some money in your pocket. So I know it's easy for me to tell you to let go, but you have to find what works for you. How can you let go? Maybe you can go to see a therapist. Maybe you can talk it over with someone and see what's the best way for you to let go and move on because it will serve you well in the long run. And
Yeah.
Marvin also said, let go and allow God. Yes, allow God. Listen, God is an on-time God, and sometimes He doesn't allow things to happen on the time that we want it to happen, but justice will be served one way or the other. So let go and allow God to take over and do everything that He needs to do. It might not be on your time.
Right. And it's important for us to be patient as well.
That's right.
Okay. Our final question. I am so demotivated and I realize it is affecting my work quality. Definitely need a reset. Not sure what my next step will be. Would love a few tips on where to begin. I'm old, So it's an old person. This I don't know what they call old, but I guess that applies to a lot of us. Not the
Yes.
age, but needing the tips.
Yes.
There are times when we have to think about our environment. What in your environment demotivates you? Find out what the what, and then think about your why and align them. So you're gonna reset. Think about that why, and you work towards it. My why will be different from your why. So I work towards my why based on my environment. I control my environment. I control the way I think. I don't say I really control the way I think, but the body is a thing that if you speak negative, if you harbor negativity, it will consume you. So try to declutter as you go along.
Okay, and I did say that was the last question. However, there is another question. Can you compete with yourself, or can I compete with myself?
Oh wow. So basically are you saying that you set standards for yourself and you're pushing yourself? There's nothing wrong in pushing yourself, but don't get overwhelmed. Give yourself grace, time, to really relax, because sometimes you tend to be overwhelmed because you're pushing yourself, and sometimes when the disappointments do come, you have a hard time dealing with them. So just be moderate. It's okay to push yourself, but just give yourself some grace.
Yes, and I do agree with you, Fiona. There is a saying, we are our strongest
Yes.
critics, and that would apply
Worst
here.
enemy.
Or our worst enemy, yes.
Yes,
So sometimes we need to give ourselves space and grace.
that's true.
So that is the end